All right. Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the 18 to 21 panel discussion. I'm Erica Burgess, and I'm with Burgess Consultative Group. And I'm here today to help facilitate the conversation with our panelists. So, as we get started, it'd be great to know who's with us. So, in the chat box to the right of you, if you could just say your name and what part of North Carolina you're from, that would be great. And then we're going to go ahead and get started with doing an introduction of our team members. So let's see if we have anybody showing up in the chat over here. All right, it's hard because you can't see who's joining you. Okay, so I'm going to get started with an overview. And so just want to let you guys know who we have here today. So we have Lisa Womack, who's with the division and overseeing the 18 to 21 program right now. We have from Wake County, Tamara Sanchez and Colette Jackson Hollenquest. And then from Lincoln County, we have Lauren Stump. And from Orange County, we have Sarah Phillips. And then we also have a foster parent with us today who works with 18 to 21, and that is Will Myers. So as you guys are joining, again, please feel free to use the chat and tell us who you are and where you're coming from. That would be great. All right, so I am going to shift it over to Lisa now. And Lisa, I'm gonna make your presentation live, and we'll see how everybody else. Okay, I'm gonna switch everybody else off. So just give me 1 second. All right. All right, so Lisa, I'm gonna switch myself off and I'm gonna leave it over to you, okay?
All right. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Lisa Womack. I'm the Interim Foster Care 18 to 21 Program Coordinator. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about Foster Care 18 to 21. I'll begin by going over the history and legislative authority, and then I'll give a brief overview of Foster Care 1821 with the purpose of providing an increased understanding of the Foster Care 1821 program. So the legislative authority that gives us that makes the roadway for us to do Foster Care 1821, it began with the Fostering Connections to Success and Increasing Adoptions Act of 2008. And it allowed states to receive Title IV-E reimbursement for costs associated with supports for young adults to remain in foster care up to age 21. In 2015, the NC General Assembly revised the general statutes. And this allowed us to extend the provision of foster care benefits to young adults 18 years of age up to 21 years of age, provide authority under which young people who turn 18 while in foster care can continue to receive foster care services until age 21 through the Foster Care 18 to 21 program, and authorize the court to review voluntary foster care placement for young adults in the Foster Care 18 to 21 program. Prior to 2015, youth in North Carolina could stay in care if they entered a voluntary CARS or contractual agreement for continuing residential support with their county, but the county had to pick up a larger portion of the cost, which meant that not all the counties were actively promoting this option. This legislation allows counties to use federal funding. All youth, no matter the county, have this option. How Foster Care 1821 can help. Permanence. We support young people with making those connections to supportive and caring adults. And we know that's just important across a lifetime to have those stable connections, to help young people maintain and have a safe and stable place to live, to assist with their educational success, to pursue things that are aligned with their interests and abilities, the economic security for them to have access to opportunities and build financial management skills, pregnancy prevention and parenting support. We want to make sure young people have the tools needed to make informed decisions about parenthood, health and well-being, that young people have access and a means to obtain physical and behavioral health services to support their well-being. There are 3 types of foster care placements. One is, One is the foster care home or facility, and it can be a family foster home, therapeutic home, or group home. There's a college, university, or dormitory. And there is the semi-supervised settings, which can be shared housing or non-college dormitory, host home, or extended family or family friend. Those who are participating in the program, there is a standard foster care board rate of $6.98 a month that can be for those enrolled in the program, and that payment can go to the young adult or the licensed foster parent, or divided between the young person and the licensed foster parent. And this is a slide that shows how North Carolina continues to make efforts to maximize the use of foster care 18 to 21. We have shown a steady increase of young adults coming into the program from fiscal year 2016 to 17 to now fiscal year 2020 through 2021. And I also note that this increase includes that time span when the age limit had increased to 23. Okay, and so North Carolina definitely wants to maximize the use of the foster care 18 to 21 program, and it is a part of our child family service plan to make sure it's available to all youth who desire to be a part of this program, so that they can have the supports that they need to transition and have a transition successfully into adulthood, to know that they are not alone, and that we are there to help and support them. If you have questions or want to reach out to me, my contact information is on the screen, and I will turn it back over to Erica.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. And I just wanted to share, there is something going on with chat right now. One of the attendees just let me know. I was wondering why we weren't getting any responses. So we have someone checking on that right now. So I do apologize. Hopefully in the next couple of minutes, it will be up and running to go. So I'm going to turn this over now to Tamara and Colette. So let me just move you guys on the screen. All right. And Tamara and Colette are going to be talking from the perspective of Wake County Human Services. So let me take myself off. So it's all up to you guys.
Good morning again. Thank you for joining us. So we are from Wake County Department of Health and Human Services. I am the supervisor for our 18 to 21 and Links unit, and Colette Jackson Holland-Quest is one of our very seasoned 18 to 21 workers. So there's one standard policy that provides the parameters or the rules and operations of the 18 to 21 program. So in addition to determining that the young adult is meeting or maintaining eligibility, and when we say eligibility, in school, so that can be a variety of types of schools. It could be secondary, post-secondary, vocational, or vocationally further them as they transition into adulthood would qualify, work, and they would need to be working at least a minimum of 8 hours per month, or preventing barriers to employment. So what that means is that they are connected with a community resource, or it could be something like NC Works, Village, even a temp agency, something or someone that is helping them to achieve employment and maintain is by having a documented, so saying that there's, whether it's long-term, short-term, temporary, medical
Tamara?
exemption. Yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. You're coming in and out a little bit. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Are you able to? I hope you can hear me now. But as long as they have a documented reason as to why they may not be able to participate in academic or vocational or work opportunities, they would also qualify. As a unit, we also make sure placements are safe and approved, as well as meeting with young adults on a monthly basis. So during those monthly meetings, or we may be required to see them a little bit more often within a month's time, we're helping to facilitate and support the young adult in creating or scribing a transitional living plan, which basically outlines their goals. So what are those short and long-term goals that they would like to achieve while in the 18 to 21 program and or beyond? But our ultimate goal in working with this population is to help connect them or help to problem solve access to resources and additional supports. Currently in Wake County, we supervise about 53 or 54 18 to 21 participants, but we've served up to 97 at one time. Colette, is there anything you wanted to add?
Not right to that part at all, Tamara. I think they wanted to kind of understand what the challenges was or the successes, and we have tons of successes. It's great to actually see some of the young adults be able to transition into adulthood, and like everybody knows, especially if you're working with this position, that each person's transition is totally different. Where one's transition, I just got my GED through those 3 years. Yay, you, because you at least got that. But then somebody may have gotten a car, may have kept employment for the whole 3 years. It could be a plethora of things that happens in their lives, but any kind of goal they have catapulted from when they first entered at 18 to when they age out at age 21, it looks different for everyone.
Thanks, Colette. We'll hand it over to the next county. Thanks, Erica.
Thanks, ladies. Okay, so we're gonna move on over to Lauren with Lincoln. So let me just give me 1 second to adjust the screen here. All right, Lauren, you there? Okay.
I'm here.
All right, I'm gonna exit myself and let you talk a little bit about your county.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Stump. I'm a foster care social worker, 18 to 21 social worker for Lincoln County. I've been with Lincoln County for about 15 years. Found a passion with working with young adults and with the 18 to 21 program. We are a small county. We have 9 to 10 youths that are currently in our program now, typically range about 12 to 13 youths. We have to be a little more creative in Lincoln County. We don't have public transportation. We use virtual platforms a lot to make contact regularly and seeing them face to face as well monthly. But definitely have to kind of think out of the box a little bit with some of our youth because of our limited resources. They are very active, most of them. We have youth that are in foster homes, in alternative family living settings, independent group homes. They kind of run the gamut as well. So I'm very excited to be on this panel today and help learn some things about our youth. That's something that I enjoy doing. They teach me every day something new and even provide me with resources that they're able to use. So it's very awesome program. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. I'm gonna switch on over to Sarah. All right, Sarah, you there?
Yes.
All right.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Phillips. I am I don't know what happened to my video, so hopefully you all can see me or at least hear me.
We
there
can
we go.
see and hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm the foster care 18 to 21 social worker and the links coordinator for Orange County. So I'm a little bit of in between both Wake County and Lincoln County. Orange County is a smaller county, but we are pretty close to that triangle area. And And we, as a result, I work with all of our teenagers and all of our young adults. Our program is comparably smaller than Wake County. Right now, I currently have 9 on an active VPA. So the program is called Foster Care 18 to 21, but some of the vernacular you might hear is people call it a VPA, for a voluntary placement agreement. And just kind of echoing what everyone has said, the idea of, we meet with them monthly. That is the standard. But sometimes some of our young people are in crisis, or they need more accountability. And so that means that they need to meet with me more regularly, to be able to kind of take those steps towards those goals. We do, just like Tamara had kind of said with eligibility, some kind of schooling program, some kind of work program. The program is designed to be really flexible in the sense of what eligibility can look like. And we try really hard to work with our young people on their eligibility, on making sure that is there. The other benefit that I have as being both a links coordinator and the 18 to 21 social worker is that as a links coordinator, if someone who is eligible for a VPA for the 18 to 21 program comes in and says, I want to be in this program, I'll help them establish eligibility, whether that means connecting them to job fairs, like helping them with their applications, with resumes, with employment services, or connecting to NextGen, so that they meet those eligibility criteria, so that they can then transition into the program together. So that's a little bit about Orange County and kind of how we run things here.
Thank you. All right, now we're going to go to Will Myers, a current foster parent working with somebody in the 18 to 21 program.
Hi, I'm Will. I am a licensed foster parent, therapeutic foster parent here in Wake County, but I am licensed through Thompson's Child and Family Focus. I came to work with this population because I had a 17-year-old and he turned 18. So this wasn't exactly something that I was planning on working in, but I'm happy to do it now. My youth comes from Cumberland County, so his county's not represented here today, but yeah, it's definitely an interesting kind of road to be on, having a child in your home who's not a child anymore. So yeah, it's great.
Thank you, Will. So I'm going to put everybody else back up on the screen now. So you should see every participant here. And we're going to just ask some questions, and anybody can answer. Anybody can answer the questions that I'm asking. So you're all unmuted right now, and you can show your picture as well. I think we got everybody. There we go. Okay. So again, we're having an issue with the chat. I'm trying to get resolution. So I'm going to ask questions from my sheet, and then if people have more to share, they'll share, and hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions. I will say, if chat does not come back, feel free to email me, and I can get you information that you need. So my email address is eburgess8017@gmail. That's eburgess8017@gmail. And if you email me, if there was something that you needed from the presentation, or you had a specific question, I can answer that for you or get you connected to somebody. So again, sorry about the chat, but we'll just go around it that way. Okay, so this is really for, let me see. Let me repeat my email address. Okay, thank you guys. my team can use their chat, so they're telling me. I'll just repeat it one more time. It's eburgess8017@gmail. Thank you guys. Okay, so just generally for anybody, and Colette kind of touched on this a bit, but if you guys can talk just about the overall, like a success, maybe even just one particular person or one thing that you've seen that has been successful. We've been doing this program for 5 or 6 years now. So at first we were learning the road and trying to like figure out how it was working. If you guys can talk a little bit about, what were some of the successes you've seen so far, that would be great. And anybody can take that question and you guys can go around as well.
I think I have success with my kid because he, like I had said, he came at 17, and one of the difficult conversations that we had, and I would highly suggest that foster parents do this, is to have I didn't want an 18-year-old in my home because I don't want a roommate. That's not something that I think I can navigate in my home. I have other children. And so having that open, honest conversation with him really allowed for a very successful transition from where he is involuntarily in foster care to now he's volunteering to stay here. So I think it's really important, and it was great for us to have that conversation before it came time to make the decision. And one of the tools that we've used is a behavior contract, so that he knows what I expect from him. I know what he expects from me. And there's a respect there that, he still does have to follow rules of the home because he is here voluntarily. And while he is here, he is he's in high school and looking for work and all of those things. And the Links program has been invaluable for him. Thank
you. From some of our staff, any successes?
I have one. I have a young lady. She started school. She had 1 year left when she signed her VPA to do 18 to 21. It didn't look like at first that she would be one of the ones. I thought maybe she'll go to a technical college, but her foster parent really fought for her. They wanted to have her do a year where if she did go to a university, where she would have to just do, she'd be on probation for the first year, but she really fought through that. And they were able to get her into A&T. And so she got into A&T without any supports. And she has been there. She's that year, we had 4 young adults to go to A&T. She is the last one standing. She's just she makes me proud. She has the foster parents that she went to live with at 16 years old. Wanted to adopt her as an adult, but they, I think a lot of things they didn't want to, even though we talked to them about it would mess up her problems with coming into foster care. It wouldn't, the 18 to 21 problem that, so they didn't pursue that while she was with us. I know it is in the works now, but she got connections. Permanency was happened for her. So she was able to make a permanent situation, and she always will have these people to lean back onto. So I believe she is one of the ones that I have really looked at and okay, she has really, really, really made it. And she participates in Say So. So she's really, really connected. So I think that is a good success.
That's a great success. Thank you for sharing that. Before we go into any challenges, did anybody else have something they wanted to share related to successes of the program?
I do. I'd just like to talk about one youth that I have currently that we've had for a period of time. And he had a really hard time making doctor's appointments, making dental appointments, knowing where he was going. He was in foster care for many years. And it was a really big hurdle for him just about 6 months ago to be able to call his dentist, make his appointment, get himself there. And he called me and was like, yes, I made my own appointment. I called. It was really exciting for him. And like Colette said, our successes can be very small, but it was so exciting. And now that's a frequent thing he talks about, and just those small things, and just being able to, be beside him and be like, yeah, you did it. I didn't have to take you. I didn't have to tell you where to go. It was really awesome. So that's a success that really kind of sticks in my mind. Even though a small one, was a really big deal for that youth.
Thank you for sharing. So now just to talk a little bit about maybe some of the challenges you've experienced. We all know that, it is a hard transition. We've all done it, going from our adolescence, teenage years into our early adult years. And so there's lots of things that come up. So we know that there's, many challenges whenever it comes to just that period of life. But are there certain challenges within the program that you've seen that maybe there's some like, well, that's something that we could maybe work with, or we need to refine a little bit? Can anybody speak to that? And if you want to share a little bit of just about challenges with maybe even engagement of young people, or challenges with engagement placement, you can go a lot of different directions here. So I just wanted to see which direction feels comfortable to you.
I wouldn't be speaking about that. As big as county is, we also, like I'm sure many other counties, encounter a challenge with accessing resources at times, especially if we have a young adult that may live outside of the city limits within Raleigh or even Wake County. Transportation can be a barrier if they do not have a driver's license, or they do have a driver's license but can't access a vehicle or pay ongoing insurance. That can absolutely be one of the challenges we've experienced. I think more recently, and I'm sure it's ongoing, oftentimes it's hard to get young adults to buy into the program, but ultimately believing in themselves. We see them, and oftentimes we see them in a different light than they see themselves, because we all know that trauma can be a barrier. The trauma that may have caused them to come into care, and then unfortunately the trauma they experience while in our care still. So sometimes it's hard to shift that mindset from traditional foster care until like you really are your own adult, you're responsible for your decisions. I think that is very challenging for a lot of young adults, or even just the limitation on abruptly ending at 21. They need only support outside of turning 21 years of age. So I think those have been some of the challenges that I've seen firsthand, and definitely shared by my staff.
Thank you. Other challenges?
I think one of the other things that's significant for that I've seen, kind of maybe one of the hardest challenges, has been this 18 to 21 population is also the time where you really see symptoms of more significant, severe and persistent mental illness really develop. So you're going to see a lot more of those cluster B, like borderline personality disorders. You're going to see a lot more of the schizo, just family disorders kind of emerge. And those are not anything that we, kind of inherently expect. And so it's just trying to help them navigate to be able to understand, hey, like, this is why, and this is how you've gotten here, but it's still really hard. And that, feeds into all of these different dimensions of, well, if you don't have stable housing, then you don't have access to a consistent or stable mental health provider, which impacts your ability to get a job, which impacts your ability to get a place, which impacts and then it just kind of, over and over and over again. And so I think that is one of those, really difficult challenges. And I think I'm definitely echoing what Tamara said in this idea of, up until 18, there's this sense that, DSS is making all the decisions, or someone else is making all of the decisions for me. And so at 18, this is the first time I get to make decisions for myself, and I'm going to do whatever I want. And there's that degree to say, like, all right, let's kind of try to taper that. The way that I try to do that is when someone is 17 and a half, I mean, they've already known me from being the links coordinator. So I just kind of show up a little bit more just to be able to kind of let them understand and map out and lay out the expectations of, hey, when you turn 18, this is an expectation I'm going to have of you. And so I know that you're not going to wake up when you're 18 and know how to do all these things. So how can we do this now? what can you do now? Like, how can we incrementally help you understand and recognize your independence, but also giving you that independence gives you the confidence that, like, oh, I can actually, kind of like Lauren said, I can actually call my doctor. Like, like, I was weirded out and I didn't know what to say, but now I'm good. I can do that. And so kind of trying to map those out is kind of a little bit how we do that. But there's also a lot of other challenges that, like, we could sit here and just talk about challenges all day, but we could also talk about
For
successes
sure.
too.
Forget about placements and having safe and stable housing. So shout out to you, Will, for being able to provide that and more to a young person within this population, because that's a huge challenge.
It is a challenge, and I think one of the things that I'm hearing from you all is I wish that as a foster parent I knew what my youth was entitled to. I didn't know that they were he was supposed to be getting monthly contacts from a social worker. That hasn't happened. She responds to crises, but I haven't had that yet, where there's monthly contact. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but like that's one of the realities is, like, we don't know what the rules are. One of the biggest struggles that I found dealing with somebody transitioning from teenage to adulthood, or teenage adulthood, is that they haven't had stable housing before they got here. So they haven't had stable life skills. They didn't have the opportunity to get a driver's license, because getting a driver's license, there's a lot of risk with the foster parent. Because I think it's now a law here in North Carolina that anybody who has a driver's license has to be on insurance in your home. So that could be a barrier to some kids getting their driver's license. And I mean, I guess that's one of the big challenges for us, because it's not just his challenge, or it's not just my challenge, it's our challenge together, is how do we prepare him for when he does age out. If he's not ready yet to take on all of the responsibilities, how do we get him ready, and what resources are there? Because his links coordinator is in contact every month, but not his social worker. And so we have, like, in our agreement that I mentioned earlier, we have a list of things that I will teach him, like budgeting and cooking and insurance things, so that we can go through those things. So by the time he goes off to college, hopefully in 2 years, he'll be able to live like a college student in college, so that he can live like an adult when he gets out of college.
And I just want to add to what Will is saying, acknowledging the need for more educational materials about Foster Care 1821, that we are in the process of working on those, providing educational materials to young adults, to professionals, so that we can maximize the use of the program, because everybody needs to be informed. If you don't know what you have, you definitely can't access it. And so that is a big concern for the state at this time.
Well, thank you guys for sharing all of that. I just want to echo the housing and the placement issue again. That we do find that, I think, in all areas, that's one of the biggest issues with this population is where do they go? So, if there's questions about that, we'd love to entertain them and have further dialogue in that area. And just, Will, again, thank you for your insight as a foster parent, and like the not knowing, and Lisa echoing that, like, we know that we need to do better with communication, and hopefully things like this will bring us to a point where we can launch some things in partnership that can answer some of these questions that people have, and just make it more transparent, more information. I did want to stop before I asked any other questions, because Sarah, I can't see chat. Sarah can, and other people can see chat. So Sarah, if you don't mind, you said there was a couple of questions in there. Can you read them so we can see if we can answer those before we move forward?
Yeah. And so I'm just going to kind of start in order. One of the first questions was, do kids in the 18 to 21 program still get the additional quarterly clothing stipend, or just the base monthly stipend? I can tell you for Orange County, they don't get the additional stipend. It's just the base monthly stipend. I don't know if other counties do it differently.
Same. But of course, we can assist with some items that they may need. Say if they need uniforms or something related to school or work, we could use links funding to assist them in purchasing those items as well. But we really work on budgeting. I know, 698 doesn't stretch too large, but we want to work on budgeting so they know what things are probably that they may need to learn eventually to take care of for themselves. But the beauty of Links is that we can support so much. Adults in 18 to 21 is still included within Links, so we can extend.
And it's the same way in Lincoln County as well. We utilize Links for work and school and those types of clothing. We do have a couple local businesses in our area that do some new donations here and there a couple times a year. And that may be just a jacket, some shirts, some shoes, those types of things. But we do have a couple resources that are able to assist.
So
And
if
can I just
somebody's
say,
not
I
getting
think-
that, I was just going to say, if somebody's not getting that stipend, we should just encourage them to talk to their Links worker or talk to the social worker to see what other assistance is out there, since it does vary from county to county and there are Links dollars that could be activated. So just make sure you're asking about that. Sorry, Will, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that for us, what we do for clothing and things is, again, that conversation as to whether or not I know other foster parents. I work with the Foster Family Alliance, and I do advocacy work for foster care. But I know other families who they want more of a roommate situation, and so having that expectation up front is really nice. So it's like, if you need clothes, you got to get a job and got to get your clothes, because I'm your stable housing, but we're roommates kind of situation. And so I think it's the same as any other foster kid. For me, I don't get quarterly things for my other kids. I have 3 placements right now. I haven't gotten quarterlies for the other kids. And so it's really just, modeling that for them, how to budget to get more clothes is how I would use that.
Thank you, Will. Sarah, was there another question in there?
Yeah, there were a few more. And so the other one was just in order to qualify for the 18 to 21 program, has the child has to be in foster care when he is 18? What about if the child had been in foster care and was given custody to us when he was 15? So and the parameters of the program is that they are a young adult in foster care, meaning age out. So 17 and 364 days to being 18 is how you qualify for this program. Now, if this is not a panel for KinGap, but if KinGap was met, if the KinGap criteria was met, then that would be number one, that would be at 16, and that would look a little different. But again, that's kind of not what this panel is about. But if you have any questions, reach out to either your licensing worker, you can reach out to me, and I'm happy to provide material. And I'm sure that other people, other social workers and everyone has some material or point you in the right direction for that. The next question was a little difficult to kind of get out of context. The question was, what is a probation period? And so I'm not really sure.
Sarah, I think they were referring to when Colette had talked about the young lady entering to her first year of college, and it was a probationary period. I think it was more so with the foster family, but Colette, if you want to speak to that.
So in order for her to attend the school, they wanted to put her on a probation period just to make sure she was going to be able to be successful in college. And it was only for
not
a year.
Associated with 18 to 21. It was just the agreement
No.
she had with the foster family.
No, not at all.
Sounds like academic probation.
Yep, exactly.
And I'm sorry, I just want to say that foster care 1821 is designed to account for young adults maybe making a decision that may not be such a good decision, and giving them time to regroup, if that makes sense, so that that they're able to, because we all make mistakes, or we all make choices, but within the foster care 18 to 21 program, you can, for instance, leave and come back. We would hope you would follow it through, but we know that we often make decisions, and we make the best decisions we can, but it's written in a way so that you can come back to foster care 1821.
And I would just share, Lisa, that is one of the great aspects of this program. And so before, whenever we were doing the VPAs and things like that, it didn't always, work like that. So this is awesome because we do have young adults that initially they might be in a foster home and stay there and want to stay there at first. But then after the first 6 months, they start to have certain feelings or they want certain freedoms and they may go away for a little bit. And then, they might connect 6 months or a year later and they need assistance in getting into their own housing, and they're able to have that assistance in their own housing outside of a foster home. So it really does work very nicely, and so appreciative that has happened. Sarah, are there any other questions that I can't see?
Yeah, there's two more. So the first one is, what about youth who have been deemed incompetent?
Youth that are deemed incompetent, if I understand
Yeah.
they can participate in the foster care 1821. The guardian makes that decision for them. Of course, it's based on capacity, and they have to go through the court proceedings, but they are able to participate in foster care 1821.
And in Wake County, we have a couple of participants that have adult guardians as well. And we just work in collaboration as best as we can with that adult guardian to help set those young people up for success.
We have 3 in Lincoln County right now that have been deemed incompetent. Some with guardians through the department and our adult services side, and some with guardians through behavioral services. And that's been a learning curve for us in child services, is learning a lot about the adult world and services. So that's been an interesting time over the past few years, learning that world and those services, because they are very different besides just our regular foster care services.
For us at Orange County, I personally have found that the line between when a guardian is installed and functioning it's not the same line. So recognizing, kind of echoing what Lauren said, of recognizing and trying to learn adult services and how they're different is really tricky. I think one of the other things that I think of when I think of that is I have young people that I know could qualify for an adult group home, but they have trauma and they have trauma and they've had experience in group homes, therapeutic group homes. And so they're like, I'm not doing a group home. I'm like, no, but this is an adult group home. And they're like, I'm not going to go anywhere I don't have a phone. I'm not going to do that. I want to be able to go to the grocery store if I want to. I'm like, but this is different. And that it's really hard to break down and be like, we're using the same words, but we mean something different, and trying to kind of parse that out. The last question that we have is, the Durham Links coordinator recently told me that Links funds have been expended for the state for this fiscal year. Is that the case in other counties? And if so, can we advocate at the state level for those funds to be increased? So yes, the funding is, as far as I know, Lisa, that might be a better question for you at the state.
Okay, I'm processing the question. So the question is, they were told that there are additional Links funds available?
No, that the funds are gone. That the funds have been expended for this fiscal year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So they are being depleted, and I can't speak to how much is in those funds right now. I apologize for that. But if you reach out to your county, they can provide information about that. And we're always seeking out funding, because we know this program is very much needed. They need a lot of things, but right now, yes, the funds are being depleted. We've used a lot, and that could be linked to COVID. It could be the needs of the people whom we're serving.
Can I ask, what does it mean that they're depleted? How does that affect us in our homes? Because does that mean that car insurances can't be paid? Does it mean that the money for cars, the assistance that some counties provide for cars, what does it mean that the funds are depleted or are being depleted? How does that affect us?
It means that once the money is gone, I mean, for you, I guess it's individual. You'll have to contact your county. But once those funds are expended, then they're not available until we get them from somewhere else, until we can get more funding.
Retta, I mean, I understand that, but does that mean like Link's events stop happening, or does it mean like Link's ability to help purchase things stops happening? I think that was more my question.
Link's ability to be reimbursed for certain things, that is what stops. Did that make sense? We're not able to
Yes.
reimburse you until we get more funding in.
Okay,
So
thank you.
in Wake County, we'll still have activities and programming. We do our best to make magic happen, honestly. Shout out to Tori Marshall. She's in the chat, and she's going to be presenting about links at 10 a.m. To give more information about that. But it does limit some of our ability to spend or to provide financial support to young adults. But again, in Wake County, we're going to continue with our programming. Absolutely.
And let me say thank you, Tamara, that Tori, she is your links coordinator for the state, so she would be able to answer that more. But I'm speaking more of in general terms about links.
There is one additional question. Are teens that choose to live with family members when they turn 18 eligible for the 18 to 21 program? I'm happy to kind of answer that. So per policy, a young adult cannot live with biological parents. There is discretion for DSS to be able to determine, to see the placement, to see if it is an appropriate placement for them. So if they wanted to live with a grandparent, they're more than welcome to. The agreement or the expectation is still that a social worker is able to see where they live to be able to kind of gauge that. But, kind of going back to what we said before, if you have a young adult who turns 18 and they've just wanted to live with their parents, like they can live with their parents. And then if they live with their parents and then they decide that they want to go to college or get their own place, they're more than welcome to come back or come into the program. It's not like you've not missed your opportunity if at 18 you decide, I want to go live somewhere or I want to live with a parent. That does not end whenever you turn 18 if you decide not to participate in the beginning.
So that's a good question that kind of segues into where I wanted to head, which was, where are our young people living and how are people being reimbursed for where they are living? So can you guys talk a little bit about that? Are young people in 18 to 21, are they living in licensed homes or unlicensed homes? If they're living with relatives, what does that payment arrangement look like? I know it's so different in different situations in different counties, but can you guys talk a little bit about for your county, where they're going and how the reimbursement arrangement is working? Again, it'll be individual to the person, but can you guys just share a little bit about the different scenarios?
It's totally different, Erica, for everybody. But as you know, they turn 18 and they want to be on their own. So they're trying to figure out how to live on their own. And so you can't really try to push them to think, for the most part, they're not ready. So you try to do that assessment tool with them so that they can understand that you're not ready to do this yet. But if you do, you have to work with them because it's their plan and so on and so forth. So therefore, the hope is that we are able to find somewhere where they can have roommate situations and then they're living with roommates. And so then we are then helping them. I got some backbeat from somewhere. I'm sorry. So we are they doing the transitional living plan. When they do that, they do the placement agreement. And in that placement agreement, it's a spot where the funds are being allocated. I have no idea what that noise is.
It could be if somebody else isn't muted, you guys can try to mute yourselves so there's no echoing if you're not speaking.
Okay, so I guess I can continue talking. I have no idea what that noise is. So being allocated. So in the placement agreement, it can we try if it's a foster parent or if it's a host home. So I don't know. We didn't talk about host homes in this situation, but host homes, we have them in Wake County where they can live with adults and they have an agreement between that adult and them about how the money is going to be spent. So they agree between, even when it comes to the foster parent, okay, I'm going to give you 300 and then the rest of the money goes to you, or you're going to give me all of the money. And so it's a different situation for everybody else. But the hope is that whoever they're living with, the placement agreement that they choose between them two, how they're going to be able to allocate the funds that the young adult receives.
So Colette, I heard you say they could live with foster parents, they can live on their own, they can live in host homes. Are there other living arrangements that you guys have seen in other counties? Are there other situations?
So you know that also we have the independent living facilities. We had a whole bunch of them. I mean, not necessarily a bunch of them. We have some, and some of them closed down. It just kind of it happens. So we have Free Will Baptist. You know, we have in Charlotte, we have Florence Crittenden. They can go to those situations and be able to live with them. And typically they don't get their full stipend when it comes to that. They'll get some funds that comes back to them. But so yeah, that's typically about the only kind of situations that they can have. We have another place that nobody is placed in right now that's outside of Wake County, but it's just being able to get the young adult. The challenge comes in with trying to get them to figure out what's good for them, and not everything is always good for them, but you know, you have to let them kind of hit those bumps themselves.
Can I add one more thing, Erica? The young people in 18 to 21 are also not limited just to reside in North Carolina. You can live in other states and maintain your agreement as long as you're maintaining the same eligibility requirements as you would have to do if you were here at home base. So there's a lot of flexibility in which where you can reside, who you can reside with. But I think one of the key components that Colette mentioned was getting the young adult to understand what may be best for them. I always tell my staff, we're not going to tell them what they cannot do, but let's utilize these tools we have in place to help them problem solve and maybe see, not that this goal is not achievable or attainable, but maybe it's not best for me right now, or this may be what's best for me right now.
Lauren, is there anything different on your end that you would add for your county, either about placements or reimbursement?
It's pretty the same, just as Colette said. We have a couple youth that have been in independent living programs. I don't have any right now that are in them, but like Colette said, it's selling that to the youth and finding the right fit for them. One program, like she talked about at Free Will, may work for one, and then another one may work for another. It just depends on what their needs are. And it's really the same thing in foster homes. That we find with our 18-21 youth. One foster parent may be a good fit and one foster parent is not, just like when they're under 18. But just like Tamara and Colette said, when we tell them what they can't do, when we're boxing them in, they become resistant. Most of these kids, youth, have been in care for years. They've been in group homes and all kinds of different settings. Trust is certainly an issue for them, ongoing, and we really just I really take a lot of time, encourage them, let's go back and let's just go and meet people. Let's go to different places. I spend a lot of time on the road. I'm sure Colette does the same. Just saying, hey, let's just go and do some interviews and see what you think. And sometimes that works for them and sometimes it doesn't.
So we're getting to the close of our segment, and I know this went by really fast. So I just wanted to give a chance for Will maybe to speak a little bit about the reimbursement side. Like, what does it look like for you as a foster parent? Like, how is that working in your arrangement? And can you just talk a little bit about how you maybe structure your home differently if you do have a young person that's in 18 to 21. What does that partnership look like? What do the rules look like? I just want to give people an idea of how it can look in a foster home if you have a level of flexibility. Can you share a little bit on all that, Will?
Yeah, so I'm not licensed through a county DSS, so I don't know that I've seen a VPA. I know that I had to sign something, and it could have been a VPA, and my teenager had to sign something as well. Because we are not roommates, I take the stipend because he's still my child, and all of his needs are provided for. He gets nothing changed. And so that's kind of how it went. Is there was an understanding that not anything is going to change with what I'm going to provide him. Nothing's going to change financially. He gets an allowance. He gets money for good grades. All of the same thing. So he still has access to funds, but it's not hundreds of dollars. I found that he's not very responsible with money because he's never had it. So it's not me trying to be greedy and keep his money. It's his needs still need to be met, and so we are going to get those needs met, and we will work on the other stuff. The structure of the home didn't change a whole lot. We did have an incident where he turned 18 and kind of ran away from home, and that is, it became a situation where it was like, you're here voluntarily. So if you're here voluntarily, you can voluntarily leave. That's fine. But to live here, there are rules to live here. And, it's kind of an understanding. It's such a weird place to live in because he is an adult and he can choose to leave. And, I don't want him to leave. I really want him to stay. And letting him know that he's wanted here and he's respected here is something that went a very long way with him. We've had a lot of talk about what transition is going to look like, because there was a time when he didn't want to live here, that he wanted to go and live with his biological family. There was a time that he wanted to go live with a friend of his from high school's family. And then there's times when he's wanted to live here. So it was a lot of being flexible. And so I think that's the key for us, is that we understand that, at any moment he could decide to leave and there's no hard feelings. He's got to do what's best for him, because he's known me a year and he doesn't owe me anything. He doesn't owe, and as far as I'm concerned, he doesn't owe anybody anything. So if he needs to operate for what's best for him, that is okay. And, I think if I had one piece of advice to give somebody who has got a 17-year-old who's about to come to the 18 to 21 program, or you're looking to take in an 18-year-old, it's that, like, you do need to respect the fact that they're an adult. You need to understand that they might not have had a consistent adult in their life before. And it doesn't just change because they turn 18. They are still all of the things you can expect from a typical 18-year-old. When kids come into care, we're looking for a reason as to why there's a behavior. And sometimes it's just developmentally appropriate. And so be okay with the fact that it's developmentally appropriate for them to want to run away. Be developmentally okay with the fact that, like, you're going to set a curfew and they're going to break the curfew. And then you're going to impose some sort of consequence for that curfew. And they're going to get upset at you and they're going to threaten to leave, and just be okay. So yeah, I think that's the hardest part for me, is the fact that he can leave. And if he chooses to do that, that's fine. It's not fine. I'd be really upset with him and yell at him a little bit, I think. But at the end of the day, it's up to him. And they don't need another adult to tell them that they're making a mistake, that they're, screwing up their life. They need somebody to be there when those pieces fall apart. And when they're like, oh crap, what did I do? Because there was a point where we were going to disrupt because I couldn't operate the way things were going. And then we had to continue and we had to come back and circle around and figure out how to make it work. So make sure that if you're going to do this, be flexible and be willing to make it work.
Well, we're all just like singing your praises in our
Oh,
private chat.
God.
I can't see anybody else's chat, but I hope they are hearing you. And what I get from this whole thing, and we do have to wrap up, is flexibility, partnership. You see this partnership here. You have foster parents, you have DSS, you have the state coming together and wrapping around these young people. That's what's going to help us to be successful. And I know you guys got to go, but I just want to really quickly say thank you for taking the time. Of course, we could probably talk for another 2 to 3 hours, I'm sure. So we know there needs to be more follow-up on this topic. And if we didn't get to something in chat, I apologize. Please reach out. I can help you along the way or connect you to somebody. But thank you guys. I'll just give you a chance if you want to say goodbye or anything else.
This has been phenomenal, and both practitioners and foster parents alike should work with this population. So on behalf of all of us that are in the field and in these trenches, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to say something really quickly. This was really good. I wish we could have more stuff like this. Thank you, Erica. I got a whole bunch from this, and I've been doing it since we started in 2017. I am still very passionate and plan on being passionate until I retire. So I'm here and thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the conference.